There are moments when the mind isn't just busy, but genuinely loud. Not productive busy, not focused busy, but loud in a way that makes it hard to rest, even when nothing urgent is happening. You sit down hoping for a bit of quiet, and instead, thoughts begin to jump in every direction. Plans interrupt memories. Worries mix with random, meaningless questions. The mind doesn't feel like it's helping you think. It feels like it's moving on its own. Naturally, you try to calm it. You slow your breathing. You adjust your posture. You tell yourself to relax. You expect that doing the right things will bring some silence. But often, the opposite happens. The more you try to settle down, the more you notice how unsettled everything is. Thoughts don't fade, they multiply. And on top of the noise itself, a new layer appears: frustration. You start wondering why this is so hard, why other people seem to manage it, why your mind won't cooperate. At this point, most people reach the same conclusion. Something must be wrong. Either the mind is broken, or you're doing meditation incorrectly, or you simply lack discipline. The noise becomes evidence of failure. But what if that assumption is already the first mistake? What if a restless mind isn't a malfunction, but a natural state? Across many traditions, this restlessness has been described in the same way. The mind behaves like a monkey, curious, reactive, constantly moving from one branch to another. Not evil, not defective, just untamed. In Journey to the West, that monkey is given a name and a body: Sun Wukong. He isn't born calm or obedient. He is powerful, fast, unpredictable. His energy is raw, and left alone, it causes trouble. But that energy is also the very thing that makes the journey possible. The trouble begins when the traveler sees Wukong's nature and decides it must be eliminated. Instead of learning how to travel with him, the instinct is to restrain him, quiet him, to force him into stillness. And that instinct feels familiar, because it's the same thing you do when your mind feels loud. You hear a thought and try to push it away. You feel restlessness and label it as a problem. You notice noise and immediately look for a way to stop it. Before the journey has even begun, you're already trying to put the monkey in chains. And without realizing it, you've turned the mind into something that must be controlled, instead of something that must be understood. Once the journey begins, the traveler quickly learns that Wukong cannot be ignored. Left alone, he runs ahead. He fights monsters that don't need fighting. He creates chaos where there was none. So the traveler does what seems reasonable. He tries to control him. This is where the golden band enters the story. The band is not subtle. It hurts. When Wukong disobeys, the spell is recited and the band tightens. Pain forces compliance. Order is restored, at least temporarily. From the outside, it looks like discipline. From the inside, something else is happening. Wukong doesn't become calmer, he becomes resentful. He obeys, but only because he must. And the moment the pressure eases, the rebellion returns, often stronger than before. This dynamic is easy to miss because it feels familiar. When your mind feels loud, you also reach for a kind of golden band. You tell yourself to stop thinking. You correct every distraction. You constantly check whether the mind is finally quiet. Each correction feels small, reasonable even, but taken together, they create pressure. And the mind, like Wukong, reacts to pressure with resistance. The more closely you monitor it, the more self-conscious it becomes. The more you demand silence, the more noise it produces. Not out of spite, not because it wants to sabotage you, but because attention itself activates the mind. You can see this clearly outside of meditation. Think about trying to fall asleep while repeatedly checking the clock. Each glance increases tension. Or trying not to think about an upcoming conversation, only to find it replaying again and again the moment you tell yourself to stop. The effort to control keeps the system alert. In the story, the traveler believes the band is necessary because he doesn't trust Wukong. And in a sense, he's right. Unrestrained, Wukong is dangerous. But there's a hidden cost. Every time the band tightens, the relationship deteriorates. Control replaces understanding. Fear replaces cooperation. The same thing happens when you relate to your mind only through correction. You begin to see thoughts as intruders, restlessness as failure, noise as something to be eliminated. At that point, the journey doesn't move forward. You're technically traveling, but everything feels heavy, forced, exhausting. Not because the path is wrong, but because you're spending all your energy managing the monkey instead of walking the road. At some point on the journey, something shifts. Not because Wukong suddenly changes, but because the traveler does. After enough struggle, it becomes clear that constant control is unsustainable. Tightening the band works, but it comes at a cost. Every step forward feels tense. Every mistake triggers fear. The journey continues, but without ease. So the traveler experiments, not by removing the band, not by giving Wukong complete freedom, but by tightening it less often. Instead of reacting to every impulse, he pauses. Instead of correcting every movement, he allows some space. Wukong still jumps ahead, he still complains, but without constant punishment, the intensity begins to soften. This is not surrender. It's a change in relationship. Applied to the mind, this looks very ordinary. The thought appears, and instead of pushing it away, you let it finish. You don't follow it into a story, but you also don't cut it off mid-sentence. You acknowledge it the way you acknowledge a sound passing by. Restlessness shows up, and instead of labeling it as a failure, you recognize it as energy, something moving, not something wrong. The key difference is that you stop interfering automatically. This becomes easier to see in everyday situations. Imagine you're working on something important and a distracting thought arises. Normally, you might fight it, telling yourself to focus harder. That tension often leads to more distraction. Walking with Wukong means noticing the thought, letting it be present without engagement, and gently returning to what you were doing. No commentary, no frustration. Or consider a conversation where anxiety appears. Instead of trying to suppress the feeling, you allow it to exist in the background while still listening and responding. The anxiety doesn't disappear, but it stops dominating your attention. This approach has a name in Taoism, Wu Wei, but it's better understood before it's named. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean letting the monkey take over. It means acting without forcing. You walk the path, Wukong walks with you. Neither of you is in chains. Neither of you is in charge. Over time, something subtle happens. Without constant resistance, the mind has less to push against. The noise doesn't vanish, but it loses urgency. Thoughts come and go. Restlessness rises and falls. The journey feels lighter, not because the monkey is gone, but because you've stopped fighting him. Your mind was never loud because it was broken. It was loud because it was being treated as a problem. When you stop tightening the band at every movement, Wukong has nothing to rebel against. And when rebellion fades, cooperation becomes possible. That's how the journey continues. Not by conquering the monkey, not by silencing the mind, but by learning how to walk together, step by step, toward the West.